Hello everyone, it's Anna Labelle and this is my presentation about applying learning theories for online engagement. The course I'm working on is video composition. It involves the basics of video production and editing, script writing, storyboarding, camera work, even a little bit of acting, and then editing and coming up with the final product. So for the sake of my course, I decided to concentrate on two learning theories, which is behaviorism and constructivism. Now, behaviorism is basically a stimulus response type theory where the learner is essentially conditioned into desirable behaviors through reinforcement. The idea of learning there is that new behaviors are learned through a system of rewards and punishments. So the student gets positive feedback for doing what is correct and negative feedback for doing what's not correct. Repetition is key in this situation. So the more the student does the behavior, the better they perform. Behaviorism is concerned with demonstrable behaviors mostly, so not so much in terms of the process of what the student is thinking, how they're understanding or synthesizing the information. It's mostly just measurable behaviors, memorized information, rote learning type situation. It's best applied to learning facts, answering questions that have a specific answer, just very kind of solid yes or no, right or wrong types of information. Uh, the role of instructor in this situation is to first of all explain or present the desired behavior and then provide the students with the feedback to reinforce the appropriate behavior as the student tries to emulate or memorize. Now, constructivism is basically the opposite of that. It has a lot more to do with the students constructing new knowledge and understanding based on the knowledge that they've had before, and then the new things that they learn throughout the course. So knowledge is constructed by the students. Essentially, it's not just given to them. It's an active process. The student is responsible for their own learning, which happens through questioning, analysis, and reflection. Constructivism theory has a lot to do with higher order skills. So not just rote memorization, but analysis and development. Learners are self-directed, so they're a lot more likely to ask their own questions, seek their own information, synthesize things in their heads, and discuss things with each other. Peer communication is very important because that's part of where the information comes from, and students kind of check their information against each other. The role of the instructor is very different here from behaviorism. The instructor is basically providing guidance and scaffolding to students in this process of discovery and the construction of knowledge, as opposed to just giving them the right or wrong answers. So the process is a lot more important in constructivism. Now, the way these two apply to my course is because on the one hand, there are definitely concrete skills that need to be learned and specific information that needs to be presented. But on the other hand, we take all of that knowledge and learning and then we synthesize it and we go further with it by creating our own video projects. So the behaviorism is the foundation of the knowledge that they need, and then they go further through constructivism. Revised Bloom's taxonomy is a model that's used to classify different types of learning into different levels based on complexity. I thought that behaviorism and constructivism cater best to some of these types of learning and not others. So I decided to break that down to help me decide what I want to do within my course and how I want to present certain types of information. So I figured that behaviorism is best for remembering and understanding, whereas constructivism is best for adjusting, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So then I went and tried to decide what kind of information do I have within my course that corresponds to these levels of revised Bloom's taxonomy. So in this case, the what I designated as behaviorism aspect of things translates into the information such as types of camera angles, types of different camera shots, video transitions, equipment operation, lighting techniques, and the editing program, the video editing program, whereas the constructivism would apply to scripting, storyboarding, acting, camera work, editing, and then putting it all together into one coherent project. Once I knew the learning theories I was going to work with and then the types of information I was going to cover by using those theories, I had to decide on a course design model. I chose Garnier's 9 events. These events are essentially all the things that need to happen within the course to promote learning. So these 9 events are gain attention of the students, inform students of the objectives, stimulate recall of prior learning, present the content, provide learner guidance, elicit performance, provide feedback, assess performance, and enhance retention and transfer to the job. So what I'm going to do now is take each of Garnier's 9 principles and I'm going to explain how I will represent that with the 2 sets of knowledge that I have within my course through the behaviorism theory as well as through the constructivism theory. So the number one is gain attention of the students. In behaviorism, I have activities such as flashcards or images with hotspots. So these could be created through the H5P technology that recently came out in Brightspace. So the interactivity and the visual appeal of it, I find they should be motivating for the student, promoting curiosity, being like, oh, what is this? I want to check this out. So immediately they're drawn into the course. We got their attention. And these are good for the behaviorism aspect of things that I mentioned before. So concrete, solid knowledge, rote learning types activities. Now, for the constructivism, so higher order skills that I want to promote within the course, a good application of that event would be sample videos to analyze in groups via Zoom. So we would have not daily, weekly Zoom meetings for my course. And within those Zoom meetings, I would always have a group activity where I would give the students some sort of a video and they could discuss it together to get their ideas flowing before we even get to the content. Second event is to inform students of the objectives. Well, pretty straightforward. So within the behaviorism, I will be listing the skills to be covered within each learning modules, just as a list. Within the constructivism, when I'm providing the assignment to the students, I will be describing this assignment and the expectations for that assignment in great detail before even presenting the lesson so that they're already having it in the back of their mind what types of information they need to be paying attention to and what kinds of things they need to be thinking about ahead of time. To stimulate recall of prior learning, I will use prior knowledge types quizzes within the module for the behaviorism side of things. And for constructivism, I will use reflection activities. So, for example, think about a movie you like. How is it enhanced by camera work or by lighting or by different camera angles? So I would have them kind of pre-think the knowledge that we're going to cover in the course by applying it to some movie that they've seen before. So how am I actually going to present the content? Well, for behaviorism, I'm going to rely heavily on gamification of learning, all sorts of interactive activities such as H5P activities, simulations done in other programs, etc. Whereas for constructivism, I'm going to give students articles to read and videos to watch, and I'm going to make presentations during Zoom for students to participate in and ask questions. Learner guidance will be provided automatically within the behaviors through immediate instant feedback within those interactive activities. Whereas with constructivism, it will be more of weekly Zoom meetings, will be providing guidance and feedback and answering questions, etc. Uh, there will be discussion forums for the students to interact with each other as well as with me. And I will also be quick to respond to personal emails. How am I going to elicit performance? In other words, how am I going to motivate my students? So, for the interactive activities with behaviorism, I'm going to use visual aesthetic appeal and the sound components and humor that are going to draw the students in, make it interesting for them. Whereas with constructivism, I'm going to create post weekly announcements with reminders and just kind of consolidate the information that we've learned and give a little bit of a preview to the new information. I'm going to send personal emails to students that I feel may be having trouble or lagging behind just to check in on them, be like, is there any help that you need? So create that kind of human interaction aspect that will be motivating for them as well. And I'm also going to post positive feedback announcements. So, for example, I've just graded a bunch of their work and I'm really happy with what I see. Well, I'm not going to just keep that to myself. I'm going to post an announcement expressing that. Oh my God, guys, you did so well. I'm so happy to see all this work. It's great. And that's motivating in itself for students to just see that kind of positivity. So now the students have learned the content, they've done some work, and it's time to give them feedback. The interactive activities with behaviorism will be evaluated automatically. They will get their right or wrong answers right away within the program. Whereas with constructivism, I have this plan where I'm going to split their grade for the assignment into a main component. So, for example, 20% and a 5%. So the 20% will be based on their initial submission, just as it is. They will receive feedback on that. And the other 5% will be their resubmission of the same assignment with the corrections that they make based on the feedback that I provided. Now, assessment and feedback are closely related in this scenario. The interactive behaviorist activities will be graded automatically, and some of them will just be practice activities, whereas others will be graded components, and they will export the grades automatically into the LMS. Whereas with the constructivist projects, as I mentioned in the previous slide, they will consist of the main component of the grade for the initial submission, and then a 5% grade based on the resubmission with the student having made improvements based on my feedback. The last step in Gagne's events is to enhance retention and transfer. So all of the behaviorist knowledge will be used within the higher order skills that I'm going to be asking them to do by completing the video assignments. So the behaviorism kind of culminates in the constructivist projects, and the retention and the transfer consolidates there. Whereas for constructivism, we are going to have peer critiques of the completed videos. I'm going to ask the students to post their best video of the course in a discussion board, and other students will be asked to comment on their peers' videos. Finally, there are a few more considerations to include to make sure the students are comfortable with the way the course is presented. Those considerations include course organization and layout, clearly communicating expectations, preparing the students for the use of the course, chunking the content and scaffolding instruction, and then humanizing the course. So the course must be easy and intuitive for the students to navigate. They should know exactly what's expected of them and how to do it and how the course is organized. I will make sure I have multiple means of transferring that information to them. So I will talk about it in the Zoom where they'll be able to ask questions live. I will post an announcement detailing all the information that they have to do, and just organizing the modules will be consistent. All of my assignments will be posted ahead of time, again, so that the students are very clear on the expectations. All of the content will be chunked in small portions so that students can like go through a little piece, take a break, go back to it. It's easier for them to process and organize the information in their heads that way. And in terms of humanizing the course, I will make sure to have a very strong instructor presence in there as well, and just reiterate a lot that I'm very approachable. I'm looking forward to their questions, and I'm always happy to help them out with whatever their needs may be. So that's it for my presentation for today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that might have spurred some ideas for your own courses as well. Thank you very much.